this play is called Our Town. It was written by Thornton Wilder, produced and directed by Mrs. Denise Connor and Mrs. Jacqueline Gilbert. In it, you can see Miss Brittany Wheeland, Miss Savannah Hanford, Miss Emily Bowen, Mr. Ryan Look, Mr. Bud Anthony, Mr. Spencer Myers, and many others. The name of the town is Grover's Corners, New Hampshire, just across the Massachusetts line. Latitude, 42 degrees, 40 minutes. Longitude, 70 degrees, 37 minutes. The first act shows a day in our town. The day is May 7th, 1901. The time is just before dawn. The sky is beginning to show some streaks of light there in the east behind our mountain. The morning star always gets wonderful bright the minute before it has to go, doesn't it? Well, I'd better show you how our town lies. Up here is Main Street. Way back there is the railway station. Tracks go that way. Polish towns across the tracks and some Canuck families. Congregational church is over there. Presbyterians across the street. Methodist and Unitarian churches are over there. Baptist church is down in the hollow by the river. And Catholic church is over beyond the tracks. Right here we've got our town hall and our post office combined. Jail's in the basement. Brian once made a speech from these steps here. Along here's a row of stores. Hitching posts and horse blocks in front of them. First automobile is going to come along in about 5 years. Belonged to Banker Cartwright, our richest citizen. He lives up in the big white house on the hill. This is Mr. Morgan's drugstore, and here's our grocery store. Most everybody in town manages to check into those two stores once a day. Public schools over yonder. High school still farther over. 8:45 mornings, noon times, and 3 o'clock afternoons. The whole town can hear the yelling and screaming from those schoolyards. This here's our doctor's house, Doc Gibbs. This is the back door, and here's some scenery for those who think they need to have scenery. This is Mrs. Gibbs's garden. It's got corn, beans, peas, heliotrope, hollyhock, and a lot of burdock. In those days, our newspaper come out twice a week, the Grover's Corners Sentinel, and this is Editor Webb's house. This is Mrs. Webb's garden. It's a lot like Mrs. Gibbs's, and it's got a lot of sunflowers too. And right up here, we've got a big, beautiful butternut tree. Nice town, you know what I mean? Nobody very remarkable has come out of it as far as we know. The earliest dates in the tombstones up there at the cemetery on the mountain say 1670, 1680. There are Grovers and Cartwrights, Gibbses and Herseys. Same names as are around here now. Well, as I said, it's about dawn. The only lights on in town are in a cottage over by the tracks where Polish brothers just had twins. And down in the Joe Crowell house where Joe Jr. is getting up so as to deliver the paper. And down in the depot where Shorty Hawkins is just flagged 5:45 for Boston. Naturally, out in the country, all around, there have been lights on for some time with milk-ins and so on, but town people sleep late. So, another day's begun. There's Doc Gibbs coming down Main Street now, coming back from that baby case. And here's his wife coming downstairs to get her breakfast. Doc Gibbs died in 1930. New hospital is named after him. Mrs. Gibbs died first, though. A long time ago, in fact. She went out to visit her daughter, Rebecca, who married an insurance salesman in Canton, Ohio. She died there. Pneumonia. But her body was brought back here. She's up in the cemetery there now. A whole mess of Gibbses and Herseys. She was Julia Hersey before she married Doc Gibbs in the Congregational Church over there. In our town, we like to know the facts about everybody. There's Mrs. Webb coming downstairs to get her breakfast. That's Doc Gibbs. Caught that call at 1:30 this morning. And there's Joe Crowell Jr. delivering Mr. Webb's Sentinel.
Morning, Doc Gibbs.
Morning, Joe.
Somebody been sick, Doc?
No, just some twins went over to Polish town.
Well, do you want your newspaper now?
Yes, I'll take it. Anything serious going on in the world since Wednesday?
Yes, sir. Miss school teacher, Miss Foster's getting married to a fellow over in Concord.
I declare. How do you boys feel about that?
Well, of course it's none of my business, but I think if someone starts out to be a teacher, she ought to stay.
How's your knee, Joe?
Oh, fine, Doc. Only like you said, he always tells me when it's going to be.
What's it telling you today? Gonna rain?
No, sir.
You sure?
Yes, sir.
Do you ever make a mistake?
No, sir.
I want to tell you something about that boy, Joe Crowell there. Joe was awful bright. He graduated from high school here, head of his class. So he got a scholarship to Massachusetts Tech, and he graduated there, head of his class too. It was all wrote up in the Boston papers at the time. Going to be a great engineer, Joe was. But then the war broke out. He died in France. All that education for nothing.
Come on, Bessie. What's the matter with you?
Howie Newsom delivering our milk.